this episode, by the way, I really, really enjoyed this one. Like
I did
it
too.
there was a lot more insight, and it's been a kind of a slow build up, but I'm seeing where they're going
But
with it more
this
now.
episode, yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this
Facts.
answers a
All of
lot
them.
of questions.
Yes, yes. Welcome to Earth 2 Comic Cast, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is enormous. Your boy Mo Crosby back with Keem to talk our favorite French Revolution TV show on Netflix, La Revolution. Pew, 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 pew. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. It should have been a French song.
Yeah.
I almost said "Oh Canada," but like totally different French song.
That's not gonna, no.
No,
Uh,
but
le Drapeau Français.
yes.
I do
Um,
kind of still remember the French national anthem from French
wow.
class.
Okay, great. I don't. Let's get into the show. Chapter 4, episode 4, The Executioners. Um, yes, as we were talking before, the intro, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought finally we have more substance. We're getting all this who's controlling this, who's doing this, and now we finally have a lot of like, I think the dust is finally settling. We've gotten all the action out, and now we're
Word.
starting to see like all the pieces
The
fit together.
layers.
Yeah.
And one of our theories was correct.
Which one?
Remember, I think it was last episode we were trying to figure out why the fuck did Uncle just like chain his kid up to a tree in the middle of nowhere
Yes,
and
yes,
leave him there.
yes.
But now we find out that it is because they're not stable
Right.
when they first like convert or whatever. And so
Uh-huh.
you need to keep them like quarantined for a bit until 14 days
Right,
until they
14
don't
days.
show any signs of being ravenous flesh
Yeah,
eaters.
they can like, rein that in.
Yeah.
Literally the first scene was uncle's son, just like
I gotta look up
devouring
his name.
someone. He's not, but watching that moment and watching how the episode shows itself, he's not ready.
At all.
Right. But
At all.
so much happens in this hour of the fourth episode, and I'm like, yo, like it's so much going on. Elise is telling Uncle that she didn't see who captured her, and Uncle was like, yeah, I know you know who did it. Like, I know you're hiding something from me. And she's like, I ain't scared of you. You don't scare me no more. And he's like, oh, I bet. If
A
I don't
word?
scare you, think about this. And like, Uncle is so sick. And like, I don't know what show I've been watching or how I've been watching this show. I finally saw Uncle this episode, or maybe it's because the lighting of this episode is a little different. And I'm like, he doesn't look how I thought he would look.
Uncle or the father?
Uncle. And I don't don't ask me how, because don't ask me how. But every
have you
time
been working and watching? Is that what's happening? And now you're actually looking up and
I
seeing his
actually
face
looked up
like,
and I was like, you don't look like how you sound. He sounds like an older person, or maybe it's to translate. Whoever who's doing his voice translation, right? Sounds older than he looks.
Nah, he looks about how I expected him to look.
Okay.
He looks like I don't know why, but he gives me a Bilbo Baggins when the Lord of the Rings like first started, and he's like about to give Frodo the ring, but he's really not trying to give it up.
Right.
That he's in that space where he's sick of people and he doesn't really want to give up his ring, but sir, you are an addict and you need to go get help.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching it unfold, right? So that whole scene with him and Elise happens, right? And Uncle, I forget his name, but I know Dad's name is Guy de Montagy.
Mm-hmm. His name is Charles is the son's name?
Ugh, so basic. Such a basic thing.
In French it would be Charles. So
yeah, it's kind of really basic, bro. Like, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I won't
expecting
even.
like
No, that son is a basic bitch for real. Like,
yeah, he really is.
he's a basic bad and bougie bitch.
Wait, that's not Donatien. Yeah, that's Donatien de Montague, not Charles.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
Charles is the dad.
yeah, well, he's basic too.
Yeah,
Well, see the
I'm
thing,
looking at the little pictures of them, and
right?
they
And
put. So you know how, like, I don't know what it's like at your job, but people who've been on the job for like years and years,
mm-hmm,
some have been like 10, 15, 20 years,
mm-hmm.
they never change their little picture that
Oh
like attached
yeah,
to your
and so
email.
it's the
So
younger look.
it's like from 20 years ago. So then I meet him in person and I'm like,
Mm.
you're not such and such. That's
Right,
not who I thought this was. Note to self, update picture every 2 years at least.
right.
Cause yeah, but that's what they did for him here. Cause I'm looking like, well, maybe that's him, but no. Okay. So he's
Yeah,
Charles,
so
and then his son Don.
go
Oh,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go. I know.
no,
I just
no.
know.
We'll get there, but
I just
that just
know. I
it's
just
just
know.
all it's all connected with
I know.
current times.
It really
So
is. So Charles, and then so that happens, and then we get back to so now there's a definition of this disease. It's called blue blood. Was it black blood or blue blood? Blue blood.
blue, blue blood.
And the thing is, blue blood makes you super hungry, right? Or when you're infected with blue blood, like the way everyone else is, when it heals you, you become ravenous. Albert has somehow figured out his hunger, and he's like working through it.
Like
Um,
medicine, he practices mindfulness in the middle of the woods.
right. And even Oka at some point comes up and says to him, "Hey, bro, look, man, I know this is what you do, but listen, this is
At
something
some
real,
point,
bro.
yeah,
You gonna have to eat. Like, what you doing? Like, he also kind of looks very skinny, so maybe they just did that to show, but it's whatever. So anytime blue blood heals you, this is what happens. You have to eat. What I do like that it's not just magic. It's like, no, when I say it's not just magic, it's not he heals and there's no consequences to it though.
right,
I like
right.
that there's something like, oh
There's
well,
something that, yeah,
yeah. It's
like
because
in order to regain your life, you're going to have to like
take life.
consume life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that is something that I like. So and then we kind of also find out why blue blood is a thing in France. And
Yes.
that blew my mind when I found out.
It
And
wasn't mind blowing, but I was like, huh. I mean, because we've already talked about blue blood,
oh, it
like
does kind of make sense.
being like, the regal, royal, upper class people. And so now
Wow.
you find out that the fucking king of France is the one who's like,
Giving all the royals blue blood,
yeah, they're
all
he's
the
making all
royal
the blue blood,
families.
yeah,
So,
because he wants to make sure that nobility is eternal.
right. And Guy is against that. I don't know if Uncle found out that Guy was against that before he said it.
I don't think he did. I don't think he knew.
Oh, but did or maybe also Guy asked his brother to like kind of like lock him up while he's going through his metamorphosis, and
Murder
so
morphosis. I
yeah,
like
um, and so Uncle kind of took advantage of the situation, and him and
very
his
much so.
uh, um crazy part was when Guy went to confessional, like
Hmm.
talk about him. Oh man, I've killed so much. Um, I've killed
Oh,
some.
and we now also find out that that creature in the gully was Guy. And
Mhm.
so he's the one that killed the little girl, and
Yes,
he's the one that they've been like yoking
co-
up the young poor girls of the town and feeding
right.
them to him.
And Charles and his soldiers have been covering up for him.
Hmm.
Uh, Charles asked his soldier to find and kill Albert, Albert and Oka come up with a plan to kill the other blue blood, the other person with the blue blood, who's Guy. They do know, Oka knows it's Guy, and I think that's why Oka was in the vicinity of the girl's death, and that's why he got hemmed up.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Charles absolutely wanted to make sure that Orca died, because he's the one who can identify the actual killer.
But I don't even think Orca wants to identify the killer. He straight up just wants to kill him.
Yeah.
And I think that's their job. That's Oka and Albert's job. I don't think they're necessarily part of the resistance. I think they're like blue blood hunters.
I think Albert was before he got sent away.
Yeah.
But now he's got different priorities.
He's become something else.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. Y'all are poor and struggling. Sorry for that. But there's undead that we have to take care of. So like, your little measly ass problems are gonna have to wait. So y'all can't dress in color. But in a minute, y'all are gonna be poor forever, because the nobility is really not trying to like get up out of here.
Right. And so I think that's his job now. That's the reason he came back. Because we've been saying, why would you come back? And now we know why he's come back, because I think they've sussed out the plans of the King of France, and they're like, hey, let's go to France and fuck shit up. And so they're going to either use the cover of the Revolution to do what they need to do. And I think if this season revolves around the Montagues, next season they'll probably pick another noble, and they'll probably like revolve that season. That's probably what it's going to look like if we get,
maybe this is a one and done. If it's a one and done, they better fucking like wrap all this shit up at the end.
Right.
I hate leaving with questions.
Ophelia, can we talk about how gangster Ophelia is? Because Joe comes to
such a motherfucking G. I love her. You know that I keep saying it. She's that ride or die bestie who is just like, girl, you want to go slash his fucking tires? Let's go slash his tires.
Seriously,
I know he's not out here cheating on my bestie with that. No. Hold on. Let me get my gun.
That's 100%. That's 100% her. So she straight up like, so apparently Joseph figures something out, and he comes over to come talk to her. Because he went to go talk to the priest, he comes over to come talk to her, and he's like, yo, I need to talk to Elise. And she's like, and immediately Ophelia like intercepts her and goes, yeah.
Like, number one, how the fuck you get out of jail? So you telling me you got caught with drugs, you got caught with an 8, and they sent you upstate, and you're already back home? Nah, nigga. Nah, no.
Yeah, what you want? Right. She's like, so I can't talk to her? No, you can't. What you want to talk to her about? Well, I found something. What you find?
Right.
Well, it's a matter of life and death. Okay, well, TikTok.
Who's dying? Like,
yeah. Seriously, like, I think the best part was like, okay, so tell me what it is, and then if I'll figure out if it's important enough to go disturb my madame to come get, to come talk to you. He's like, well, there's this phenomenon, and it's like, these are the symptoms, and the blood is blue, and she's like, oh, I bet. And instead of taking her to go talk to her,
you don't even need to talk to her. let me take you to my connect, who you really need to talk to, because she knows what the fuck is going on. Because a girl in her dream told her.
Yes. And she was right, because she now tells Joseph that, hey, your friend, the priest, is going to die. So how you going to act? And Joseph is like, word, let me get back on my trusty steed. He rode that jump, and he kind of got there late, because now... No, can we talk about how Charles is such a dickhead and maybe a good shot? Because I don't want to even give him that, because she's poor and she's hungry and she don't know how to run. And that's
she's disoriented in the woods.
Like, zigzag, nigga. Zigzag, right? Like, zigzag.
The whole time she was running, I was like, serpentine, little bitch, serpentine, go. But it just was not in the cards for her. But yeah, and I mean, I think that's part of it. Like, he when he captures these girls, he like cold cocks them, halfway disorients them, and then like doesn't even just knock him out and throw him over the back of his horse. Like he makes them walk on a rope, like, you know, tied, walking behind his horse. So by the time she gets there, she's already exhausted. So his zombie brother doesn't even have to work hard for his meal. Like, just snatch him up and keep it moving.
Right. And he's
But
like,
after
well,
they
go get
find
my
out,
son.
yeah, well, they find out that Guy has escaped, and you know, now it's like, well, shit, he could be out here eating anybody. Like, not even thinking that the issue might be he's just gonna go and, you know,
snitch,
blow up our shit and tell everybody. Like, no, like he's gonna go out
like
here,
cold, like just dry snitch.
You know that gif? It's like a female evangelist, and she's got a microphone, and then she's got the megaphone in front of the microphone. And she's like, actually, no, she's got the megaphone and then the microphone, and she's like yelling into it that way. Yeah, that was about to be Guy. Like, everybody.
Yeah. And he would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that pesky Don, who finally. And he tells the priest everything, all the plans, and he, you know, he's like, confesses to the priest. And right before he's like, yo, you need to get out of here, Don comes in, and Don is like, and Don eats the priest's face. 1, 2, they capture Guy. And then Guy also now does the villain speech. Well, not really a villain speech. Like, oh, he tells the king, the king of France's plan, and not knowing that, what's his name? Charles was with the shits. Charles was 100%.
He's shocked. He's like, "Nigga, you use my blood to make this, like to do this to your son?" And Charles is like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm saving family. I'm saving our bloodline." And then he's like, "No, like this is not the way it's supposed to be." Like you said, yeah, like Versailles is everybody that walks into Versailles, that's nobility, they're walking out like this, and I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna put a stop to it.
Right.
And Charles is like, why would you want to do that? Like, I've sworn an oath to protect nobility. So yeah.
And then he's like, Keem, can I go into your swords? Yeah. So
these are not those kind of swords. These are swords of goodness. These are anti bitch ass swords. There's no bitch assness attached to these swords.
Got you. Real quick. Let me ask you a question. So his head is severed completely off his head, and that's how you kill these things, right? Well, that's how we know he kills zombies or undead. Real quick, when they cut to the funeral scene, right? Because there's 2 funerals. There's like the poor people funeral where you see like dirt and just dirty people. And then there's the rich people funeral where he's like dressed to the nines, right? Did they attach his head with?
I don't know if they use like 1700s duct tape, or I mean, maybe he had on like a high collar shirt and they were like, just tuck it in there. Nobody will know. Like, nobody's going to be touching them. Just
because at least was on him crying. You know, she did the Black Mama cry at the funeral. She was on him like, take me with you. Like, she was crying. And he didn't move. And I was like, I'm gonna ask Keem if she saw that too. But again,
wooden stake. Stick it in the neck, stick it in the head, like put the head on it. Then it's not gonna wobble. It's just there.
Right. But again, Ophelia with the shits takes his hand and slices it just to see if she can find whatever kind of blood. If she sees, she's like, oh, okay.
It's blue.
Son, Ophelia is like, if everybody dies on this show, I feel like Ophelia is going to be the last living person. Or one of the last living people. Because she's like,
she needs to be. Yeah, she's got to figure out. Well, she's got the best of both worlds, if you think about it, because she grew up in poverty and Elise saved her. So, you know, she knows how to like move in the streets, and she's probably got a little bit of street smarts about her. And
she belonged to the streets.
She belonged to the streets. Then she found a sponsor. And now, you know, she has to work, but it's a different kind of work. Like, she's in a nice house. All she really got to do is watch the little deaf girl, or no, sorry, the little mute girl, and
she's straight.
you know,
She's taking care
make
of
sure
it.
ain't nobody fucking with her homie.
Right.
That's it.
Before the priest dies, though, he tells Joe. Joe gets to him and he gives him a key. He's like, "You need to find this spot real quick."
Lazarus.
And but you know, Joe's been asked to leave the city, so like, he's about to go hide out. It looks like he's not going anywhere. He's about to be in the mix with everybody. But at the very end, Uncle Charles is like, you know what? I don't even really want to rule like that anymore. I'm just gonna let my son do it.
It's just
And
not
you,
even me.
and you, right, and you see, you know, his son ride up, but you also visibly look at him and tell like there's something wrong with him.
Something. Okay, number one, the fact that this nigga walked up in a funeral where everybody else is in there all black with their veils. And he was like, I'm breaking out the spring 1779. Like, ain't nobody even seen this material yet. Look at this embroidery. Look at this.
I'm not
had
gonna
on
lie.
the Air Versailles 1800s. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. He was fresh though. He was fresh.
I have to flex on these niggas like this at a funeral.
Hard. He's like, I'm gonna be in the white and the gold, chilling. Like, what's up?
Drippeth. All
like,
this drippeth. Look at me.
Looking like Puff Daddy in the Being Around the World video with the white on. Like, yo.
Oh my gosh. Like, as soon as he stepped in the door, I was just like, this.
To the nines. To the
nines.
Hat and everything, gloves, everything. But the most disrespectful part was they take his
they just snatched the ring off the dead man's finger and gave the feeling I had when I watched that ending was the feeling I had November of 2016.
Jesus.
Wow. I could relate. Like, it's because like they're taking the ring off and everybody's like, no, don't do that, and like put it on his finger, and he's just sitting there looking at it like, yeah. And
I mean, I can understand how like maybe Guy was like this nicer person, you know, as you know, the guy who was 44. You know, Guy's like 44 and Don is 40. Okay. Don is Don.
That was my gas, like oh shit. And they not trying to leave.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to do whatever they can.
We're not going nowhere.
Sure that nobility is always going to be on top and in power.
Right.
What prophet is writing this? Like, who was like, I can't do this verbatim, so let me just go ahead and, you know, use some symbolism and change things up a little bit. Right. And then like Madeline looking at Elise and signing to her. Right. And what's hilarious to me though is Madeline didn't say we're all in trouble or we're all gonna die. She was like, y'all gonna die. Like, for some reason she knew I'm gonna be fine. Right. But the part that cracked me up and made me sad at the same time, when what's his face, when Joe went in to talk to Madeline, and he was like, I'm a doctor, and she was like, y'all motherfuckers gonna send me to the fucking asylum? You said you weren't going to do this. He's like, no. There's a doctor in here. And he's like, no.
I'm not that kind of doctor.
That's not me. I don't doctor like that. That's not my docking. It's not what I do. And she was like, you're not an asylum doctor?
No, wrong doctor.
This poor girl is just on edge the whole time. Thinking at any minute they're just going to snatch her little mute self up and like just send her away. That's terrible.
That's not a good way to live.
Her. No, like, she's fine.
She just don't talk. Simple. You know what? I think she's gonna talk. I think she talked. I think she's just like, you know, like one of those like shows with like one of those kids who's been through a lot and they just shut off and don't speak. I think that's what it is. I think she can. Maybe that's why she's telling us the story.
And if she figures out who her biological parents are.
Right. You know,
And I think the little dead girl that talks to her in her dreams is probably going to do something that's like, speak.
Speak. But
Because
no, yeah,
I
Madeline
feel like
Simon.
when she was having the nightmare, she was making little noises.
She was. She
So
did
she's
when
capable. Yeah.
Elise came in. But you're right, Madeline Simon at the end. Yeah, it's not gonna be good for you guys. Like, but you know, I think that was a funny part of the ending, even
So
though
what y'all finna do? Cause
I'm good.
this thing.
The girl already told me I'm straight, so
I know I'm good, but this nigga over here that's dressed in bright yellow at a funeral who didn't even bother to blend or contour.
no,
Yeah,
he did not, because his face was all white and
right. Like, sir, did you even check to make sure that was the right foundation color for you before you put that on? Like, he just
you look like death,
because he's dead.
right? So now that we know, like the table's been set. Like everything's been set. You know, we know all our players now. We know where all this is coming from. We know how this is going to take place. I'm trying to get back to now the very beginning of the show, where Madeline jumps down from her horse and kills someone. I'm trying to get to that point.
How do we get there?
Yes, and
Well,
it looks like a slow. It looks like it's not going to get there ASAP, which is going to piss me off a little bit. But I guess we should enjoy the slow build. You know, the fear of the Walking Dead before the Walking Dead.
oh, they got okay. No, we're not doing that. Not
No.
and this other Walking Dead they put out, there's no need for that either. But we have 4 episodes, so they might have to build a little quicker if they're trying to like wrap it up in this season.
Right. What are you expecting? What are you expecting for next week? I mean, actually, with this show, what do you expect?
I don't even know, because kind of went into it not knowing what to expect and being so confused by that first episode. So I think I'm expecting Joe and Albert to have to actually work together, even though Joe's not really Albert's brother anymore. So that like you and your little girlfriend Orca over there, like y'all just working together now. Y'all still talking? But yeah, that's what I kind of expect, is that they're gonna have to start working together to figure out who is this new blue blood, what's happening there. And I feel like in that Lazarus room that the father sent Joe to, he's gonna find like a whole bunch of stuff. And have to work to get that going.
If Oka knew Guy was the blue blood, right, for this city or whatever, if he knew that, is he gonna be like, oh well, maybe this are they gonna I think they should have another inkling, or they'll probably see another death or something's gonna happen, and they're gonna be like, because they have to stick around, because if they came to kill Guy,
voodoo, that's how he gonna know.
Oh man,
no need for any other answers, just voodoo.
Right.
He's gonna voodoo the answers and figure out there's another one.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm excited now that we know a lot more to the story. I'm kind of like, I want to watch ahead and see what's going on. I kind of want to finish it out now, but I kind of like this process, because if we did binge everything, it'd probably be a lot of information. But I'm excited because now it's 4 episodes in, and 2 weeks ago I was like, if nothing really happens, we might have to like call it, right? But now it's like we know something's happening, so
yeah. I need to see this through.
All right. I'm glad we stuck with it. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. We will catch you next week for the next episode of Live Revolution, episode 5. So we're excited about how it's going, and we're excited about where it's going. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next week. Peace.